Okay, so we will start. No? We will start the session. Sorry, you were sleepy, huh? Oh. Coming back. You're good?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's your space for whatever question you feel like.
Yeah. I'm just getting really tired. I've been like seeking for a long time.
Yeah.
And just getting kind of really burned out. It's like.
So what are you still looking for?
Me.
Me? Or the real?
The real me.
The real
the real
me?
me, yeah.
You? Where is this one? Where is the real me?
Well, supposedly looking out my eyes right now.
Yeah, but here. Not here.
I don't know. I still think I'm like a person. This white guy.
But who sees this person and who knows this person?
Presence.
Okay, so what does presence do, Mike?
I'm sorry, what does it do?
What does it do, presence?
Nothing, just looks.
Yeah, it embraces. Huh? It embraces what is there. Huh? So what is there? There is the story. When you read a book, when you read a book, there is a story in front of you. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
And you're the reader reading the book. And sometimes in the book, you're, very emotional. It's nice. It's or you may cry, or you're also involved in the story when you read. But still, you don't identify with the story, with the book. You're into it, but not identified with it. You see?
Mm-hmm.
So to have a little bit of this distance looking at the story, although you will feel it, you will still feel it. Like when you read, you get into it. When you watch a movie, you get into it. You're into it, but from that distance, you're the reader and not the book. So really understanding that is having that little distance where whatever you're going through, although you feel it, you're a little bit detached. Can you see that? Can you?
Yeah, I mean, I've had that, but it's not a steady thing. Do you know what I mean? It's not like.
No, you just need to understand it, because to be it, you don't need to think at all. To be it is just what is awareness. The presence, who has recognizes itself, can forget about it. That's the point. It's not to come to your life or to your daily life thinking, okay, who's watching now? What is going on? Who is sad? Who is happy? You don't need to think about it. But you need to really understand who you are so you can drop it. Because once you've really understand who you are, what happens? In your daily life, even if you don't feel good, it's okay. That will pass. If you feel good, it's okay. That will pass too. If you feel very high and blissful, you enjoy it, but it's going to pass. It will also pass. So you're completely one with what you feel, but you have a kind of coolness about it.
Right.
So that's a practical aspect of it. But for that, you really need to understand who you are, to be sure about it. Because if you doubt it, or if it's only intellectual, you will still look for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So really understand that presence is an alignment. That's what, it's simple when you understand it, but what do we do in that? Presence is seeing I feel good, and it's saying I don't feel good, but it doesn't get caught by good or not good, because I recognize myself. So both, I'm free from both in a way. Although I feel both, I'm free from both. So good, not good, this, that, this is presence, clear, pure awareness. There is that, I recognize that, but hey, it's okay, that will pass. I don't identify with it, that will pass. That's like this. It's in front of me. I'm not into it. I feel it completely, but I'm not into it. I'm not caught by it. You understand? Yeah?
Yeah.
So that will pass. So pure consciousness is like, this is it, this is it, this is it. Huh? It has an opening to the truth of what I feel here and now. But what do we do usually when we have mind patterns, ego memories? Instead of looking at, oh, I'm jealous now, or I'm disturbed now, instead of recognizing it as it is, which is a job of awareness, it knows the inner feeling and it sees it for what it is, exactly as it is. But through the mind pattern, through ego, pure awareness gets distorted. It gets distorted, and then we don't recognize the truth of what is here now. We say, oh no, I'm not jealous. Oh no, I'm not unhappy. Oh no, I'm not. So, like this pure awareness gets distorted through the mind filter, and we lose who we are, although we are always here. But through the mind filter, we lose our clarity, our openness to truth. So although the self is within, you don't realize it, it's not realized. You cannot be yourself if you lie to yourself. Even if you lie to someone else, but you see it, you're still aligned with truth. You understand?
Yeah.
Alignment with truth is really being in the straight line with what is really happening, or being willing to be in a straight line, because sometimes we are still unconscious, we don't know. But we are willing to know the truth, but sometimes some ego tendencies are very unconscious. That's it. But still there is the openness for it. That's all that counts. There is this openness for it. So that is the alignment with truth. So understanding who you are is helping you to make this alignment possible, to prevent distortion of reality, of your inner reality. And that's it. And in daily life, you don't have to think about it. Well, who, da, 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 da. You can just feel in your body. Because when we are not aligned with truth, we feel it. Either we feel heavy, or we feel a little bit too light and too easy, but we don't feel good about something because we actually don't care about the other person. And when we don't care, we feel it inside. Or if we care too much, but that's heavy, we also feel it inside of us. So in daily life, when we cannot think about everything all the time, the body tells us how to be. Or when the mind filter is driving us, because we feel it. It's a wall. We feel the wall inside. So the body is your great gateway to knowing truth, to open to truth. That's my ego. I think that it's okay. And then in the evening, usually when there is a problem, we cannot think too much about it. We cannot be too much aware about it. But, a little bit away from it, when we've been really disturbed by it, we can check in and see what was it. And then we open to it, like we did during the workshop. You open to it, you feel, I need to control, I'm manipulative, I'm in control, I'm whatever. The old identification, the old mind filter, that is a wall, you feel it, and then you get a chance to release that memory and to open the passage, the gateway to your true nature, realizing itself in your body, being realized in your body.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Huh?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. And that happens. I find when my thoughts, all they do is judge. And then I notice it. And because it does feel very uncomfortable. And I notice it most of the time pretty quickly. But there's also when it's like really heavy, which I've been feeling a lot of heavy stuff lately. A lot of real heavy, and I can really get sucked in. And then I do eventually notice it. I could be caught up into it for a little bit.
Is that okay to be caught, Mike?
No, I don't like it.
Why not? Yeah, you don't like it, but for pure awareness, that's the truth here and now. I'm caught, you know? So pure awareness is very simple. It just gives a room to what is really here and now. So the problem when we are caught by ego, by mind patterns, we don't want to completely embrace it. What we do is that we struggle with me. We struggle with the little me. I'm caught. We don't want it. We want to get rid of it. We want to change and to improve and to. That is the problem. Because we don't give a chance for the little me to be embraced, without any expectation, to be really embraced. So I'm caught. If you're really fine with I'm caught, and you really open yourself and embrace I'm caught with no expectation, you have no duality, And in this absence of struggle with a little me, you're connected to your heart. Because
And
the
that's
world is
what happens. That's what happens when I finally recognize, oh, I'm fighting it. I'm not allowing it, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this helps. Huh?
Yeah, because then it's like, oh, okay, I don't have to do that. I can just allow it. And it's okay.
You don't have to get rid of it. Huh? So sometimes when you're evolved on the spiritual path, the greatest challenge is not to want to change. Because you've been doing so much effort. You've been doing so many things and you're still caught into something. So that's very frustrating. Yeah. So really at that stage, it's really important to allow it completely, to stop that will for change. And to say, okay, that's it. And I know who I am and the rest is not in my hands. What can I do now? It's like this. I just see, I open as much as I can, but I relax with my living. I stop fighting it. I've seen it. I know it. And I stop fighting it. It's okay to be me. How does it feel inside you? It's okay to be me.
It feels okay. Yeah.
It's okay. So, yeah. I stop the control. It's okay.
Yeah, right now. Yeah. I've had a lot of interesting experiences or openings, but it was like a couple months ago, I had one where it's hard to explain. It's like I saw like who I really am. It was light, vibrant. I mean, it was like, wow. And I'm like,
who knew that? Who knew that?
Well, I don't know if it was coming from the person. I don't know.
Who knew the experience?
But I guess from who I really am. But it seemed like the person saw that vibrant. It was just wild. And then it was like, is that me? You know what I mean? It was like, is that, oh my God, I think that might be me. It was kind of like that. Yeah. And so I guess the expectation is that that would be the regular daily place I come from.
The expectation would be to come back to that.
Yeah, and be it.
And be it.
And all the time.
That's why it's very important to know who are you. To be free from that, as much as to be free from depression. To be free from that openness where suddenly sometimes you can plug into that bliss and open field. And it's like, wow. Sometimes we plug into this. I call that the high self. We plug into it. It's like the open sky without the rugs and the stones of the earth. Sometimes we take off. And we go into this open space and energy and wow. And that's the open sky. That's a heaven. Mm-hmm. And then, wow, that's the most beautiful experience. But that's also a golden cage. Because you get attached to it, you want to come back to it, and you lose perspective of who you truly are. The same neutral openness to high and low. The same openness to the open sky, high there, feeling good, and the same openness to down below, feeling depressed and bad, because you realize that who you are is really nothing. just consciousness, pure consciousness, free from all kinds of states you're experiencing.
Free, that's the expectation, to be free regardless of what's happening.
Yeah, that's just awareness. Freedom is being clear. Freedom is clarity. Because if you're not clear, you're going to take this beautiful experience as what is real. And the real is absolutely nothing. What is real cannot be named or put as a description, because if you describe it, you're mixing the beautiful story with the pure awareness. Who knows? Who has known that beautiful wow? Who knew it? The self, which is just nothing, an openness to what you've been experiencing. Whether high and feeling divine, feeling really divine, or low and feeling like hell. But did the experience last? So find what is permanent within. And that's really.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Or that's what's happening, yeah.
So if you really catch who you are as just a simple witness, you won't be caught by any experience, Mike. That's what I want you to really get. If you really catch who you are, when you have a beautiful experience, you will fully enjoy it, but you are able to detach from it when it goes and not feeling, oh, I got enlightened, I got it one time, it was so beautiful and I lost it, and how can I get back to it? Find what is permanent. Your openness to it with detachment, and your openness to depression without taking it seriously. So that's true freedom. But for ego, it's disillusionment.
Yeah. I know you've talked about like just seeing different aspects of the ego. I mean, is there anything you think I should be like inquiring into, like certain aspects that would help me know who I am?
So, when you understand who you are, there are two things to understand. This clarity is all that counts, because when you're clear, you understand that you are what you're looking for. This cannot go away from you, because there is always this knowing. Whatever you're going through, you know something. I feel bad, I feel good, I went high, I got depressed, I'm stuck there, I cannot move from there. And you know, the knowing cannot leave you. So that's the only permanent thing about you, within the body or without. So that's self-knowledge. Once you understand that, you're for sure in a way free, because you realize that nothing matters. I am. I am that pure awareness. I am. Now, that's where we need to combine self-knowledge, which is the understanding of I am, which is the understanding, intellectual understanding, that awareness cannot be away from you, and meeting what is really here and now, which is the other half of self-realization. One half is clarity. I'm clear. I am. So this brings you a state of peace and freedom or coolness, because nothing else matters, in truth. But then, come back within. And can awareness just not care? What does awareness do? It catches what is here now. It catches it. So if you cannot still catch what is here now, because you have mind walls in between, although you know yourself, you're not completely realizing yourself.
Right.
So there is clarity, but there is not openness to the truth, which is a feminine, which is opening to the feminine, which is opening to the heart. So sometimes in spirituality, they're only vertical. The new spiritual tendencies, Advaita, whatever, or as it is understood, can be understood vertically only. As I recognize myself, and then I don't care. I hold on to it. I hold on to my stillness, because the rest is illusion. I hold into my inner silence. I don't even try to, who cares about watching ego? Who cares about it? We just give attention to it, and that moves me away from my own light. So see a little bit how it is self-centered still. It is still lacking the openness of the heart. It is still lacking the overall embracing self. So masculinity is halfway. I'm clear. I recognize myself. Nothing matters really. But still, you know, if I am myself that light, I should not be afraid of anything in front of me. If I can really be that light, nothing in front of my field can really disturb me. And so this is the openness I'm talking about as self-realization, integrating also the feminine energy within, which is openness. So the masculine is clarity, the feminine is the horizontal, the openness, and both is self-realization. So that's why if you're still blocked, if you still are afraid of watching your ego, of meeting it as an emotion inside you, the self is not completely realized because you're resisting. You have the wall in front. So, or resisting means also I accept my resistance. It's also not resisting, but it's not even, you know what I mean? It's not even conditional to getting rid of the resistance, but it is accepting to have resistance within. You understand? It's very simple to be the self. It's not about getting rid of anything, but about meeting everything as it is, here and now.
Yeah, and little by little, I'm getting better with that because it doesn't take as long to recognize, oh, wait a minute, that's what's happening. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
But I think
so what?
Go ahead.
No. So in my teaching, I've been identifying. This is a part I call initiation. I don't know if some people, if you're interested, I wrote a book. And there is really all the waves of the ocean, all aspects of ego in this book. So it can be a working tool to completely go and identify what waves you're still resisting, what ego patterns you're still resisting, to meet it and to open to it. So now I developed this Satsang online, and that will be a platform if people are interested to go through the book and share, you know, whatever, because an initiation, it's an opening into the ocean of consciousness. So obviously it's bringing change into your life. So you need a little bit of support, depending where people are. But so the satsang can be a place for that. For, oh, I'm stuck there. What can I do? Or this happened, and how can I go over that? Or so that's going to be a support.
What book is it? What's the name of it?
It's on the website. It's called. there is a page that is called Initiation and Book. On my website.
I think I saw that. Yeah. Okay.
So,
yeah.
So in this book, it's about it's about the openness, having clarity, and from that place, opening to the different waves. So it's really a working tool, and if you want to go for it, you can read it, and then if you have questions, there can be a place for questions from time to time if you need, and
that sounds good. Because I see a lot of teachers that, I don't know, I mean, there's some good teachers out there, but there's some that are they seem kind of fucked up to me a little bit.
You need to have walked the path. You know, it's one thing to understand the path, and it's another thing to have walked the path. And when you have walked the path, it's a little bit, at the end, it's a little bit, you're tired of it at the end. But you realize it comes from your experience. So when it comes from experience, you have a good ground to share. You have a good ground. You fell into some part of the world. You hurt yourself there. So you've learned. You've learned from your own experience, not from books, and that's a great help in helping others afterwards.
Yeah, because I know the head opening is pretty common, but then to actually have the heart too, the head and the heart is really, you can tell the difference. You know what I mean? Well, I can, like when I'm listening to teachers and where they're coming from.
What you're looking for is to be yourself. That means to be natural. You know, when you don't have the wall of the mind in you, what is a state you're in? Natural state. You're not caught high because you see through the game also of being high in the open sky. When you feel low, you're not caught there. So you become spontaneous again. You know?
Yes.
The state of spirituality, of self-realization is back to your nature. It's a very simple, spontaneous state. There is no mask to have. There is nothing to pretend. There is nothing to hide. And you just behave naturally, because what is there to prevent being yourself, you know? So it's really about being yourself. Yeah.
That's what I really feel like I want, because I know sometimes I wear masks, you know, and I act a certain way around certain people. And I mean, that's getting better. It is more spontaneous, but there's still fear there. There's people pleasing still and wanting to be accepted. And
it's okay as long as you see it. You see, that's the simplicity of the self. It's okay, you see it, and what to do. And the more you're going to be fine with this mask and fine with the little me, at one point it goes, but not out of I want it to go. I'm condemning this. It needs to go away. I'm struggling against it. It's fine. We all have a little mask. We all have. But it's fine to see it and not to bother about it. We can never be also 100% perfect in daily life. Huh? The perfection is really the openness to imperfection.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
Right. But I guess I'm expecting a shift in perspective. Like all of a sudden, you know, then you get the big laugh and you see that you played a joke on yourself. I had that a little bit. I had that a little mini experience, but it wasn't like, you know.
Yeah. The laugh is when you realize how simple you are. When you realize that actually what you've been looking for is so simple. It's so much here and now. It's so much there all the time. And you've been looking for it very high, and you've been looking for powers, and you've been looking for a sense of feeling good, and you've been looking for this and that. And when you realize, wow, I just need to realize that knowing is always there, and that I don't even need to change as long as I can say yes and embrace my little me, you know? So it's so simple that the mind cannot take the simplicity of it.
Maybe that's why it takes so long, because it takes so long for the mind to get the simplicity of it.
Yeah, the mind, because the mind will loses control by being yourself. The wall is no longer there. And for the mind, this feeling of losing control is a greatest obstacle, because it's death, you know. And what is out of control? Huh? The mind cannot believe there is this greater intelligence, because nothing, being nothing, can flow through everything. Huh? If you identify something, you get a little bit of, you know, how can I say, the more that when you put a name on something, it gives it a print already. It gives a certain substance. So a substance cannot let everything flow through it. Huh? What has a name cannot get everything flow through it. But when there is no name, when it's empty, it can flow through everything. Huh? So who you are, why was I saying that? At the beginning, who you are can flow through everything. And why was I saying that? Why did we start to talk about?
Well, it's total acceptance. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't remember shit. My memory's horrible. I have no memory.
Anyway, so if you're nothing, you can flow through everything. And I don't know why I was saying that. But only that nothingness, you know, and that's what is important to realize, how simple nothing is and how beautiful nothing is, because that's a totality. It is one with the totality, as nothing.
Yeah.
You get that?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just thinking about, too, the control issue. That's like the biggest thing for me.
Mm.
It's what
Yes,
causes my,
that's why we were talking about it. Yeah.
yeah, like the anxiety I get every day. And it's like the mind is just, it's just getting really nervous. It gets nervous.
So let's go back there, Mike. I lose control, and just feel it in your body. What do you feel?
What's coming up is like the fear of being out of control because something bad will happen.
Okay. So what is this something bad? What are you afraid that something bad will happen?
I have no idea. It's as far as it goes.
So I'm afraid of losing
Control.
losing or hurting others or hurting me. What are you really afraid? Behind losing control?
It almost feels like the fear of the unknown is one thing. It's like, hey, there's just an issue with not knowing. I'm not sure what else.
So the funny thing about the mind is that it created a system of believing if the mind is a driver, if I'm in control, if the mind is a driver, I'm safe. And that's so stupid because only the mind makes us unsafe. Huh? The mind is creating a fake safety, a fake feeling of safety, whereas mind is the absolute unsafe place. Because within mind, there is the energy cannot flow through us, and this energy is perfect intelligence, perfect connection to everything, perfect support, perfect protection, perfect because it is not limited by anything, and it is within us, and it flows through everything, and it is also intelligent. So it can help us in ways we have not even a clue or not even an understanding. But because we believe in our mind and the protection, the fake protection we believe it creates, we limit ourselves into this mind pattern, limit ourselves to stick to this job, to stick to this situation, to accept that, to be afraid of that, to control that, to manipulate this person, not to hold on to this bank account and money and not to let go, because we are afraid to opening to grace. We are afraid to opening to what is really beyond the gel of the mind, the walls of the mind, which is grace. But we don't trust grace. We don't believe in who we are. We just believe in people's mind and our own mind because that feels safe. But it is not safe, and that's a paradox. So getting out of this cage feel like, whoa, what will happen now? Huh?
But isn't grace, it's not something that I can make happen. I mean, it just happens. Or how, you know what I mean? I heard one teacher say you can't make enlightenment happen, but you can't stop it from happening either. It just happens.
It just happens. And this connection with your true self, this beingness, being it, is just a natural state. And whatever you need to experience will happen. But don't take it as something dangerous, as something unsafe, because that's the opposite. That's the opposite. That's the opposite.
Oh, before I forget too, I've heard some teachers say that you can, they say, don't put off your awakening.
What does it
I'm
mean?
like, what the fuck does that mean? They're saying, oh, if I don't know, if you're not doing something all the time or whatever, it's like you're putting off your own awakening. You haven't heard that?
No, no.
I've heard Papaji say it. I've heard Neelam say it. I've heard other teachers. You're putting off your own awakening. And that doesn't
What does it mean to put off?
It's like you're dragging your feet. You're not open to it happening. You're just putting it off. And Papaji said, oh, you could be lost for another 1,000 lifetimes. I'm like, what the fuck is that? It doesn't make any sense.
There is also a paradox between looking and not looking, doing and not doing. Huh? So some teachers say there is nothing to do because whatever has to happen will happen.
Right.
And that's true. In a way, we are determined. We have a program that whatever this program is, at one point, the mental program is ready to open the door to the natural program. We have two drivers inside, the mind, or ego program, or our nature. Without the wall of ego, it's just our nature driving us. We all have different natures in this body. There is no wall. So I can become what my nature really is. I can become an artist if I'm really an artist. I can become this if I'm really this. My nature will bloom. So the driver is nature or the driver is mind. So when we are on the mind driver, it's also set up that at one point the mind walls will get loose.
That's what I want. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
You're doing it. They are. Don't forget who you are, Mike. It's funny. It's funny, the habit of looking for something, for really understand who you are. It's a mind habit to always be looking for something further than now. Huh?
Yeah, totally.
So just get out of this mental habit. See it as a joke. See it. So sometimes your mind pattern is bringing you to a place when you're gonna realize, wow, I've always been here and now, like I'm telling you now. Wow, that's a joke. You know, I've been looking for something that is always available here and now.
Yeah, I know.
And so the mind program is bringing you to that place. And so in that sense, there is not much to do in that situation. You know, as long as you're not aware, you don't know, you're driving with a mind and you get a little bit of slap or a good life, because the mind can bring you a good life, a very selfish life sometimes, but some people are rich, they have a beautiful husband, beautiful woman, a beautiful house, they're not truly happy. But they have a kind of okay life that doesn't shake their belief system yet. But one way or the other, life will bring you to a place where your belief system is shaken. That's how this energy is working. It's helping you to shake your belief system. So if you don't have openness, it would shake it hard. If you have openness, it will be smooth. But at one point, you're going to be confronted to, wow, but what's going on? What's the meaning of life? Who am I? You know, what's the purpose of all of that? One point, there is this inquiry. And when you realize who you are, when you understand, now you are conscious. So that's where Papaji, I think, is coming to tell you now that you're conscious. Don't forget it. Because it's so easy to forget it. It's so easy to fall into the trap of unconsciousness again, of being unconscious, of letting go of consciousness, or having fake belief on top of your awareness. Some fake belief, which is, oh, now that I understood, I have nothing else to do again. You know, I know who I am, and I don't care about even opening to ego because it doesn't matter. I know who I am. But that's a fake belief also, because, you know. So I think that's what he wanted to say. And Ramana also would say it. Sometimes he would say, don't give up the little effort at that time, the effort of awareness. Don't give up the reminder that you need to remind yourself to open to that stillness of watching. Stillness of watching is just the pure state of who you are. You know, it is nothing, but it is an openness. Don't forget that. Open, keep opening, keep welcoming, keep embracing from a place of clarity. So I think that's what Papaji wanted to say. If I Don't put off awakening. It's not awakening, but don't put off your awareness. Don't give up on awareness. Don't forget who you are.
Sometimes I want to give up. Sometimes I just want to say, screw it to all this and just go get a good job and make some money.
But what is your truth, Mike? There is nothing wrong with anything. Yeah? But you have to know what is the source of your wanting. Is it mind, fears, or is it because you enjoy? You want a good life and there is nothing wrong with anything. Just, have a good time. It's also part of being yourself. There is no rules. So what is wrong with having a good job and money, and what is wrong?
It almost seems like I need to wake up first before I can do any of that stuff. I mean, I have a job, but I landscape, so it's not that much money, and it's hard work.
Are you enjoying
hard.
it? Are you happy about it? Do you like it?
Sometimes, but it's very physical, and I'm 60 years old. It's starting to really catch up with me, Especially when it's really hot out or really cold. I don't know. I think part-time would be okay. Because I like working outside.
Yeah. So maybe that's a time to have this part-time and to enjoy the rest of your life differently.
Well, that's where I need some money, because I can't do a part-time. I live week to week. I barely can afford anything. I spend money on spiritual stuff. That's the only thing I do. So I'm open to getting a lot of money, and I tell God that, where's the money? I'm open to it.
He still didn't answer my request. I don't have a request about it. But sometimes, money is not your way, and that's okay. And that's okay. What if you had money? So for some people, they don't get lost with their money. Some people will get lost, and it will prevent to come back to what is here now, which is you feel complete when you really pass the wall of resistance to ego. You feel complete. You don't need much. You can enjoy your work and partner and family and little life and friends and whatever is here in your life, and that's fine. There is not much expectation.
Right. Yeah.
But that's where sometimes you need guidelines, because it's all case by case in the present moment. Some people in the present moment, they need to loosen up a little bit, celebrate life, enjoy, have a good time. And some people in the present moment, we have to say, hey, stop enjoying a little bit, come back to what is essential, what is really important. So you cannot give a pre-charted idea, I don't
know what you mean. Yeah. But this is the most important for me. It's like why, even though I'm tired, I just keep on doing satsang and self-inquiry and whatever, healing.
So what did you get from today? What did you get from today? Are you far away from who you are?
No, I feel more grounded, more present.
Does it matter for awareness, whether you're grounded or present?
I guess not.
You guess or you're sure?
Yeah, no, I guess no, it doesn't matter. It matters to me.
It doesn't matter, because awareness can embrace everything as it is. That my little me, the story of my little me is no longer important. And if my little me has a lack of grounding, a lack of presence, it's a little me, but I see it. Can I be away from presence when I see it?
Right. No. That's the saving grace, because I still suffer until there's a recognition what's really happening,
Yeah. And doesn't matter for presence whether you suffer, the little me suffers or not.
I know, that's kind of fucked up. What is presence, like sadistic or something?
The presence what?
Sadistic.
Sadistic. Sadistic.
Yeah.
No, it embraces it. It embraces it, but deep down, it doesn't matter. Presence, it's just the openness. It has no condition. That's why it's pure love. It has no condition about a little me.
Yeah.
Really get that, Mike, because you keep being caught in it very quickly.
I know. Yeah, I know.
Awareness has no condition upon the little me. I'm the reader of the book, but I'm not my little book story.
Mm. Yeah, that seems to be sinking in a little bit more. Yeah, so this is how I want to be always. I feel really clear right now. I guess I am. That's probably what you're going to say. But
You are, but not consciously. Yeah? That's why to recognize yourself completely, you always are. You always know what's going on in you and everything, but you're not consciously saying yes to what's going on.
Right.
You're not bringing your light into your little me experience.
Damn. This is hard.
What does it mean to bring the light, Meg? What does it mean to bring?
Clarity.
And what is clarity? What is clarity?
The truth.
And what is the truth? Stop fighting the little me. Stop fighting the little me. Surrender. Surrender to the little me. Let it be. Let's give a big yes to it. You keep struggling with the little me. It needs to change. You should not experience that. You have to be present all the time, grounded all the time. Can you imagine how much pressure you put on your little me all the time? The spiritual.
The what?
Spiritual pressure.
But who's doing it?
The what?
It's not who I am isn't doing it, right? It's the little me fighting itself.
It's a little bit fighting itself because it didn't switch on the light in its room.
But can it switch on the light, or wouldn't that be grace? See, I get confused about that.
But it's happening, and also because you're looking for it. You know, you need an effort to try to find what's going on. You know, if you're unconscious, which is not switching on the light, you live your life, but you don't care, and that's fine. Some people are very natural. They haven't switched on their light. They don't know who they are, but they are actually self-realized in their experiencing of life. They follow their heart, they feel their nature, but they haven't looked who they are. Look for, search. So these people, which was my case, I was driving my car naturally, and I didn't know who I was. And at one point, I heard the knock, tuck, tuck, tuck. Understand who you are. I understood, and check, the light was there. Because I knew how to drive naturally, spontaneously, but I didn't know who I was. Some people are driving with the mind, the fears and the greed, and they drive with that. And at one point, there is a search for, I'm tired of it. I need to understand. I need to understand. So they are looking for the light. They are looking for. So there is this effort. And you have to have that need to open the door. You have to look for it. So like what you're doing, you're looking for it. And at one point, you're ready to switch on the light, which means to realize, wow, I've always been present. This knowing has always been there, but I was not aware of my knowing. Knowing didn't know knowing. Knowing was not looking and knowing. That's what I call awakening. The light bulb suddenly realizes it is a light bulb. Normally a light bulb, enlightened, illuminates what is around. But when the light bulb illuminates itself, knowing, sees it is knowing, that's enlightenment. That's illumination. When the light bulb sees itself, that's really awakening. It recognizes itself. So self-recognition, whether it happens by grace or whatever, anyway, there is always a need to find it. Self-realization, awakening, Mike, you're ready for it. Just believe the simplicity of it. Recognize the knower in you. Recognize it. Presence, the reader of the book. What does the reader of the book do? Does it care about Mike being grounded or not? Does it care about Mike being present or not? You know the joke of it. The reader knows the joke. It's just a story in the book. It's not a real I.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But Mike, at the moment, you're always caught by, I need to become spiritual. I need to get it. I need to change myself. I need to improve myself. I need to get rid of this. So you're losing the simplicity of presence. You're losing the reader of your little story.
Yeah, because there is always a need for this to happen.
And that's why you lose it all the time when you talk. I say, what is present? Oh, I don't know. You lose it because you don't want to just hold on the simplicity of it.
Well, who doesn't want to? That would be the mind, right?
Yeah, the mind escapes. The mind escapes.
Yeah, so that's kind of what it does, right? I mean, that's all it does.
Yes, yeah. But you can see the mind, presence can see the mind for what it is.
Yeah, and I do see it more often than not. I just see it. Like all of a sudden there's a story, and then I'm like, oh, and I just see that it's a story, but not all the time.
Yeah. But then what does it mean? It's not even knowing it is a story. It's not caring about the story. If you really stop caring about the story, if you say yes to me, yes to the journey, once and for all, yes to your frustrations, yes to your disillusionment, yes to your I fell, yes to I'm not there, yes to the little me struggle, you know?
Yeah.
Yes to the fight.
I'm sorry?
Say yes to the fight.
Right.
Within you.
Yeah. Okay. God, it's so weird. So, all right. Yeah, I'm going to get that book. That sounds interesting.
So get that book, and that's why I'm here, because get that book, but don't lose yourself. Be clear. When you go for initiation, first you know really who you are. And also that's why I would be here as a reminder. Because if you don't have a reminder, the tendency of the mind is to look for something and to prevent opening to the ocean of consciousness from a place of clarity. I know who I am. I open with no expectation, with no getting caught into opening to my mind with the desire to be better, to become this, and when we lose presence. So I'm here as a reminder that whatever you go through, there is a reminder that is needed. So you open to consciousness, you open to resistance, you open to all aspects of ego, but with clarity, with back to yourself, back to yourself. So there is both a need to open, but if you lose perspective, if you lose the watcher, if you lose witness, you will identify again, you will be again caught by mind. I need to reach a place. I need to be that. I need to change.
Yeah.
So to go through initiation, you need to be reminded. You need to open consciously to resistance, and that's why it's it's an initiation. It's
Okay.
It's a paradox, spirituality. It's a paradox because there is both nothing, and as openness, there is everything to include. But you need to know how to dance between these two axes. Between these two.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Who cares? Who cares, Mike? All is okay.
That's a good question. Who does care? Yeah.
Who does care? What you are is conscious love. If you're only consciousness, you're not open. You find peace, but you don't find love as pure presence. You don't care. Because I know who I am. I don't care about the world. I don't care about ego. I am free already. So consciousness without openness is peace, but it is not love. And if you're love, open to everything and everybody, but you're not clear about who you are, you're also lost. Because you dilute yourself in the world, in people, in emotions, in thoughts. You get lost in all of that. So love only is not enough, and peace only is not enough. They both need to meet. And that's conscious love. That's who you are. Conscious love.
How many teachers are out there that don't have that?
That don't have what?
Have both.
Oh, this I will not say anything.
I mean, yeah.
But you know what? That's the greatest challenge of humanity. It's been the challenge. It's at the beginning of any cycle of time and at the end of any cycle of time, there is a challenge of these two things to really meet, to really unite. And that's the union of the masculine and the feminine. And it has a challenge because in the masculine way, which feels very divine, some teachers, when they are very masculine, they have powers, they can see, they have an aura, a great magnetic field because they are high up in this energy, they plug into this energy, so it develops a great field of energy, gives a power, a charisma. They are not nothing, and they are not in the middle point of nothingness, they are into the greatness, the divine greatness, which if people don't know is identified as self-realization. It's very impressive, can have a lot of power in it, a lot of stillness, a lot of, it impresses the seekers. So that's a masculine way. It gives a certain power, certain something, a high state of beingness, of being, a high state of being. And ego is caught into it, even the spiritual ego of these people. They think this is divine. So the feminine is the opposite. It has open to all in life. You know, I walked away, I got, but I managed to keep my heart open. And I integrated ego. When you walk the way and you manage to keep your heart open, that's because I resist it, you're open to truth. It's fine. No matter what I feel or experience, it's okay. So there is this openness, but no clarity. But when the feminine, who has been open to all, becomes clear, suddenly she becomes a disturbing energy for the spiritual world or for the spiritual masculine realization, because she will see through the game of it all. Huh? So at one point, a feminine energy, a Durga, a Kali, all this archetype of a mother is the door for the masculine, which is very high there, to come down. Hey, I see a little bit your lie and your game up there. Take off, remove this divine mask and bring back, completely go down to the heart, to your nothingness, to your simplicity, to your naturalness. So the feminine is a door to that, but there's still a lot of resistance. And people want to believe in something really impressive.
Yeah.
But the power of the heart is not visible. The power of the heart is the nothing point. The power of the heart is the grace happening, flowing through everybody. It's a presence in life. But it is not a impressive power. It's not visible.
But it's probably more powerful.
It is more powerful, but it is not, you get it only when you don't care about power.
Right. Yeah.
So power is not visible, and that's why it is a big challenge for the mind, which wants, in some ways, subtle ways or not, to be powerful. And we pretend one way or another something. So this integration is really, really hard, because you have to open to the very subtle spiritual ego at one point. And I think we are coming in a time where we are ready to open to both, and the feminine also, to see its weaknesses. In the openness, there are weaknesses also, as a lack of clarity, confusion, over emotional, lost, and troublesome. And they are, you'll see on my page, I wrote something about the history of the sacred feminine, and also an article about the integration of the masculine and feminine, which is a challenge of the time. It's a challenge of every time, all times. It's a greatest unconscious resistance.
I do hear more and more about the divine feminine, though, in the last year or two.
Yeah.
It's becoming more, there's more awareness around it, it seems like.
Yes, there is openness in consciousness about that.
Yeah.
Okay, Michael, don't take it so seriously. All is good.
That's a good pointer. Yeah.
All is okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I will wish you a good evening.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tilicho. I'll be in touch. I'm going to get that book. It sounds really good.
Yeah, read the articles also. And really, don't forget that once you completely trust that intelligence, have faith and let go of the rest. Have faith, trust your nature, trust life, trust yourself, and move like this in life, from trust. And that changes everything. Believe. Okay. Don't believe halfway, believe.
Right, yeah. That's what I do. Nice. No, this is good. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I'll stop the recording.